The Bitcoin idea is, what if I just had a good asset and I didn't have to trade it and I didn't need a company to tell me what to think about it? What if I just bought it and it went up in value every year? MicroStrategy is a Bitcoin development company. So MicroStrategy's mission is to develop, advocate, support the adoption of Bitcoin everywhere in the world. So that's what we'll do. We'll do that forever. We will do that by buying Bitcoin every single quarter. Buy more Bitcoin. We'll buy it with cash flows. We'll buy it with debt. We'll buy it with equity. We'll buy it with any other capital markets activity that we can.
In just over a decade, cryptocurrencies have transformed from digital novelties into trillion-dollar technologies with the potential to disrupt the global financial system. A growing number of investors now hold Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies as assets, using them to purchase a wide array of goods and services, including software and digital real estate. Advocates argue that cryptocurrencies democratize finance by shifting the power of money creation and control away from central banks and Wall Street. Reflecting this perspective, Michael Saylor, CEO of MicroStrategy, views Bitcoin as digital capital and predicts its widespread adoption by governments, corporations, and institutional investors. He highlights Bitcoin's superior technology, simplicity, and efficiency, and underscores MicroStrategy's commitment to buying and supporting it. Saylor believes Bitcoin embodies digital wealth in a way similar to how the dollar represents physical currency. As the world becomes more digitally interconnected, he anticipates that nations and businesses will adopt Bitcoin as a reserve asset, with institutional investors and sovereign wealth funds leading the charge before central banks. Before we continue with the rest of the video, do check out daily 5-minute crypto newsletter with all the latest crypto and Bitcoin news. It's a fantastic analysis of on-chain crypto data and breakdowns, and the best part is it's absolutely free. They'll cover expert predictions, breakdowns of on-chain crypto data, and any breaking news you need to know, all in a nutshell. Click the first link in the description and enter your email to join over 50,000 others in becoming a better crypto investor right now.
Bitcoin is digital capital. The dollar is the dollar. America's going to embrace digital capital, just like every country is going to embrace digital capital, just like they're going to embrace Google and Apple and Amazon and the internet and the like. They'll embrace it, but I don't think it changes how they handle the dollar. Central banks, maybe in time, the smaller central banks will embrace Bitcoin as a treasury reserve asset, but long before them, I think corporations will, institutional investors will, sovereign wealth funds will, and 10 years is not that long a time in the history of things. I mean, if Bitcoin goes to $1 million, so it'll be somewhat more valuable than gold. But gold is still an insignificant asset. Gold is still an insignificant asset in every wealthy person's portfolio on Earth. So Bitcoin can go to $1 million a coin and be extremely successful, and it'll be starting to be embraced as digital capital, but we'll still be early. I think Bitcoin is technology and it's digital capital, and I think there's a transformation of capital from analog to digital, and I think that every company, every government, every investor, every technologist will look at that, and people will embrace it at whatever rate they want to embrace it. So I think Bitcoin's going to spread like digital capital. I don't think you need any cataclysmic event for it to spread. I think it's just a better idea. It would spread regardless of whether there was a conflict. And, conflict, chaos, hyperinflation will accelerate the spread. But, if Apple Computer builds the Bitcoin into the iPhone, it's going to spread because Apple built Bitcoin into the iPhone. And why will they build it in the iPhone? Because they'll make hundreds of billions of dollars if they build it in the iPhone. Why wouldn't they want to make billions and billions of dollars? So people will do it because they can do it. And countries will adopt it at whatever rate, and investors will adopt it at whatever rate they will. It's just a better idea. It's digital capital, just like digital information. I don't know the role of digital photographs in the development of the Chinese culture since Mao. Digital photographs have permeated society, right? This is digital capital. It's going to permeate society. What I'd say is Bitcoin, it doesn't solve all the problems in the world. It just solves half. It's the half where you need economic power or wealth to do anything, right? And the world seems very simple to me. It's like there's $900 trillion of wealth measured in dollars. The dollar will continue to expand 7 to 10% a year. That means in 7 to 10 years, there'll be twice as much of that. If Bitcoin, goes by a factor of 10 or a factor of 15, so it'll go from 1.3 trillion to 20 trillion, it could be 1% of the wealth of the world and be $1 million a coin, and the world will be whatever it's doing, right? So I'm not really, I'm not of the opinion that there needs to be some catastrophe or there'll be some major, world
event
order change. I think that this is just good technology. It's going to spread just like mobile phones spread.
Michael Saylor predicts that the next decade will be defined by the rise of digital money and intelligence. He believes this shift will transform company structures and financial institutions. Saylor highlighted the rapid advancement of digital intelligence and its potential to impact various industries. He emphasized that Bitcoin is a superior asset, outperforming traditional assets with the potential for 50% annual growth. Saylor attributes Bitcoin's success to its simplicity and efficiency, which stands in stark contrast to the complexity and inefficiency of traditional banking institutions. As CEO of MicroStrategy, he affirmed the company's ongoing commitment to purchasing Bitcoin, promoting its use, and educating others about it. Saylor urged other businesses to adopt the Bitcoin standard and recapitalize using Bitcoin, anticipating significant reforms across industries and social structures. Let's return to the interview to hear more insights from Michael Saylor.
I think the next 10 years are a very rapid transformation along at least two dimensions that I'm familiar with. There may be more than two that I am not familiar with, but the two I'm familiar with would be digital money and digital intelligence.
Yeah.
And it's pretty clear that there's hundreds of trillions of dollars of capital, which is analog money. And as people start to transform the analog to the digital, you're going to see profound disruptions in business models, financial applications and financial institutions. And, a lot of things people took for granted for the last 30 years, they'll just throw out the window and say, what? Like if I run a survey on Twitter right now and I ask you how many of you are going to, invest in Bitcoin versus equities versus gold versus something else, I think like 3% of the people say equity. People just don't think that way anymore.
It's a transition.
And I think with intelligence, the AIs didn't work until they started working, and I guess they started working last year, and we're either in we're year 2, we're year 1 or year 2. I think we're year 1 of adoption of digital money, and I think maybe we're year 2 of adoption of digital intelligence. And I think they're going to spread like wildfire. So this is a big stack of complex, inefficient stuff, a lot of wasted energy. And this is one thing, very simple. That's why this goes up 50% a year and the S&P goes up 10% a year. And as people look at that, they'll realize I can get 10% performance with a stack of this inefficient, thermodynamically leaking Rube Goldberg devices, or I can just buy this one thing which is thermodynamically sound, which will outperform all this other stuff by a factor of 2 to 5 to 10 to whatever. And so those two dynamics, they'll go hard for the next decade, and they'll reform your industry, reform your job, reform the social order. MicroStrategy is a Bitcoin development company. So MicroStrategy's mission is to develop, advocate, support the adoption of Bitcoin everywhere in the world. So that's what we'll do. We'll do that forever. We'll keep doing that.
And you keep buying.
How will we do that? We will do that by buying Bitcoin every single quarter. Buy more Bitcoin. We'll buy it with cash flows. We'll buy it with debt, we'll buy it with equity, we'll buy it with any other capital markets activity that we can. Those opportunities will change from quarter to quarter, from time to time. I can't tell you how we'll be buying Bitcoin in 10 years, but I can tell you that we will likely be buying Bitcoin. We'll be supporting the education of Bitcoin.
Cool, yeah.
There's 45,000 publicly traded companies. How many are on the Bitcoin standard?
1.
Every time I meet companies and CEOs, what do you think I say to them? I say,
buy Bitcoin.
you should recapitalize your company on Bitcoin.
In other news, since closing above $64,000 last week, Bitcoin's price has surged by 10%, though it has now stabilized. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell announced an expected interest rate reduction in September, which triggered this spike. Nearly $500 million has flowed into U.S. spot Bitcoin ETFs, reflecting a positive investor outlook. This influx of capital suggests growing investor confidence in Bitcoin's future. The total reserves held by U.S. spot Bitcoin ETFs have now reached $44.6 billion, indicating increased enthusiasm for Bitcoin as confidence in its potential strengthens. On-chain data also supports a bullish outlook for Bitcoin's price. Over the past 3 days, the Miners Position Index, which measures the ratio of miners' outflows in USD to the 365-day moving average, has dropped from 0.63 to 1.46. This decline suggests that miners are becoming less active in the market, reducing selling pressure and supporting a higher price. The lower index also indicates that miners may be holding on to their Bitcoin rather than selling it. Additionally, financing rates, a key indicator of sentiment in the futures market, currently favor buyer dominance in the perpetual swaps market, with a funding rate of 0.008%. This suggests that traders with long positions are driving the market, lending further credibility to the optimistic outlook for Bitcoin's price. As we wrap up, what do you think the increasing adoption of Bitcoin could mean for the global financial system? Share your thoughts in the comments below. For more Daily Dose Crypto news, check out these 2 awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.